Today I'd like to give you a demonstration of Toad extension for Visual Studio as running inside of Visual Studio 2010. The Toad extension for Visual Studio is designed to enable all of the database functionality inside of Visual Studio 2010 for the Oracle database. So let's take the case of a small soda manufacturer, a soda company. The soda company has an ASP web page which is driven by data in an Oracle database. So today, as a developer in charge of maintaining the web page, I'm going to take a look at my open work items. As you can see, I have one work item for today, which is to modify the soda table. And this modification involves making changes to the Oracle database. You can see that I need to update the soda table with the following changes. Before the Toad extension for Visual Studio, I would have to open up another tool, make my changes, and then come back into Visual Studio to mark the work item as complete. With the Toad extension for Visual Studio, I've already imported my Oracle schema into an Oracle project, which has all of my Oracle objects represented as script fragments, as you can see here. I've also taken the liberty to go ahead and add those script fragments to Team Foundation Server so that they're under version control and managed with my website. So in order to update our soda table, I'm going to open up the soda schema. So now I'm presented with a table editor where I can go ahead and begin by adding the first column that I needed to add. I'll go ahead and make this a number data type. And now for my notes modification, let's go ahead and do that in the code itself. So when I switch to the code view, you can see that I have my volume column already added here, and I'm going to go ahead and make my notes column much larger. Let's make it 2,000 characters. Now that was simple enough, but what if I'd made a mistake in my code? Let's say I'd accidentally removed a parenthesis. Immediately, the Toad extension for Visual Studio evaluates the syntax and shows me that I have a syntax error. What if I decided to change the name of a column here? How would that affect the rest of my schema? As soon as I save the code, you can see that the model has been reevaluated for consistency. So you can see I have a foreign key relationship which relies on the soda manufacturer ID column. The Toad extension is doing semantical as well as syntactical validation. Let's go ahead and fix our code and save it. As you can see, our error has gone away, so let's go ahead and check in our code. Let's say that we updated this, and let's associate it to our work item. And we're done. So now that we have that checked in, let's take a look real quick at the version history of that table. This is one of the great things about having your Oracle objects managed with version control. Now I can very quickly and easily compare multiple versions of my table. I can see the changes that have been made to this table over a period of time, and I can very easily roll back these changes to a certain point in time as well. Let's go ahead and compare our schema to our project, and let's roll our changes out to the database. So to do that, we'll go up to Data, Schema Compare, New Schema Comparison. And here I can compare my source schema, which is a project, to my target schema, which is my database. And I've already set up my connection earlier. And now I'll very quickly run through and compare the differences between the two. So as you can see, I do have some differences here. So let's investigate that and see what's different. As I scroll down, you can see that my soda table is the only thing that's different. So let's inspect that just by itself. And as you can see, it looks like the only changes here are the changes that I intend to roll out, which is good. So let's update our script and see what that looks like. So you can see that our deploy script is now just an alter statement, which means that all of our data will stay intact. So now that I'm comfortable with this, I'm going to go ahead and write these updates to the database. And I'm going to go ahead and refresh my schema comparison to be sure. Perfect. So let's say I wanted to make some broader changes to my schema, like renaming a table. To do that, I can use the refactor command inside of Visual Studio 2010. Let's take a look at the schema view And let's drill down into our tables. Let's just pick soda manufacturer as the table to refactor. So I'll right click, refactor, and click rename. Let's go ahead and give it a new name. We'll use MFG here. And immediately I'm presented with a window which shows me all the different objects which would need to be modified in order to support this change. So I was able to very quickly and easily make a change across my entire schema, knowing that I won't break any of the other objects. Well, that's all we have time for right now. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video on Toad Extension for Visual Studio.